Hi, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started here, and people can join in as they would like. I'll let anyone in that needs to, but I'm going to go ahead and get started and get this recorded as well. And going. Okay, so anybody wants to join us, come on in. If you are listening, please, if you would save your questions, and I will stop periodically to ask some questions if there are some that need to be asked. So go ahead and save them for the times that I do make this stop and have a little break in this meeting. So this is really, really important information. I'm making this recording because this is essential that this information get out to literally everyone around the world. This virus has impacted all of us. It's a global virus. All of them are actually. And there's something that we all need to know and that needs to be shared, excuse me, globally as well, literally in every country around the world. And we need to understand what viruses and bacteria do. So it's so easy for us to be blaming the COVID virus for this. And we're out there attacking it, trying to attack it. How do we destroy it? How do we hide from this? What do we do to fight this thing? And the virus isn't what we need to be fighting. We really need to be understanding the virus. So I know many people have probably seen this video that I have on my YouTube channel, but I really want to take the time to go into it much deeper so that you really understand the complexity of this. It's essential that everyone truly understand this idea and what bacteria and viruses do. I talk, and I've given this talk before, and then somebody will come back and they'll say, oh, but really bacteria and viruses are really bad for you. And I say, no, you didn't listen. So what I need you to do today is really get out of the box and think logically about some of the things that I'm sharing with you today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And we're going to go through a lot of these slides very specifically because I want to make sure that you understand exactly what I'm saying in these slides. So first of all, I have to give you the legal disclaimer, of course. In accordance to the law, I must inform you that the information in this session is not designed to diagnose, treat, or cure disease or illness of any kind, simply designed to provide you with information. By law, I have to tell you that. Take that however you want to take that. A very quick background about myself, and this is literally a flash of my life, is that I spent 10 years in the medical industry in Western medicine. I worked for Merck Pharmaceuticals as a sales rep for them for 2 years. I was recruited by a company called American Medical Electronics, which was then bought out by Orthofix. We sold bone growth stimulators. It was pulsed electromagnetic frequency bone growth stimulation for regrowing bone. It wasn't healing. And then I also worked for a company called Acromed Spine, actually a company called Inotech Health out of Chicago area. And we repped a company called Acromed Spine that was bought out by DePuy Spine. So I've worked for some very prestigious worldwide companies, some of the top companies in their field for 10 years. So I do have a Western medicine background in addition to the alternative medicine that I've been in as well. I left the industry for this reason, for my daughter. I left the industry to start a family, and that was really my focus at that time in my life. But it was interesting because the universe said, not so fast. We want to keep you in health and wellness. And my daughter ended up being born with severe food allergies that we were able to find out and handle. And then some other breathing issues that we found out when she was 5 years old was actually obstructive sleep apnea. So to kind of fast forward to where we are today, what I teach and the whole purpose of my teachings and why I'm speaking today is that we have these disease statistics. So we have the best doctors today. We have the best medical technology. We have the best medication, the best pharmaceuticals. We have the best surgeons. We have the best treatments. We have the best medical devices today. And yet, why are our disease statistics increasing percentage-wise year after year after year? Now, I'm not talking about the number of people. Yes, the number of people are getting more ill because, of course, we're getting older and we have more people on our planet. But I'm talking about the percentage of people is increasing. Heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, dementia, autism. And you can't say it's just because people are getting older. Is that a piece of it? Absolutely, it's a little piece of it. However, if you look at the childhood statistics, they're rising just as fast. So we have childhood cancer that's increasing exponentially. We have children that are as young as 4 years old that have signs of atherosclerosis in their arteries. And we have autism rates that have increased by incredible rates. I mean, in the 1980s, that was not very long ago, it was 1 in 10,000 kids that developed autism. Today, it's 1 in 68. 1 in 68. I mean, if you really think about that statistic, everything that we have today, everything that we've learned, all the science that we have, and yet these statistics are increasing year after year. Think about this logically now. So the reason that I'm doing this is to teach that the cause of disease is not these bacteria and viruses that we think. There are 2 causes of disease. Number 1 is toxins. And when I say toxins, I mean environmental toxicity. So the chemicals and all the things that we're exposed to. I'm talking about dead cells too, because our body looks as dead cells that have died in our body as a toxin or debris, to get out of our body. We also have the cellular debris. So when a cell actually explodes and dies, or it erupts and it dies, or it deteriorates and dies, then that is cellular debris that is left in our body. We also have scar tissue. So trauma can cause different scar tissue that's in our body. And then we also have a toxin that would be like an implant, right? So we might have something implanted into our body that our body looks at as a foreign body or a foreign substance that's there as well. And it will work to try to remove it from ourselves, to protect ourselves. So the second cause of disease is deficiencies. So you can imagine a healthy cell in your body. If you're not getting the proper nutrients in there, that cell becomes deficient and that cell deteriorates. So these are really the only 2 causes of disease and illness and ailments in the world. Bacteria and viruses absolutely do not cause them, and I'm going to go into how that is so right here. Let me see here. Can get going forward. Okay, so for an example, this is diseased lungs. So what do we have here? We have somebody who was a smoker and they were exposed to a lot of smoking tars, and they were exposed to all of the chemicals that are in cigarettes. And you can see on that bottom picture the tars that have actually stored in the air sacs of the lungs. And you can see in the top left-hand corner all of the black that is there, and there are chemicals there. And then there's the healthy pink lungs. It's kind of on the top in the center there. So that's what our lungs are supposed to look like. But because of the environmental toxins that we're exposed to, those poisons come in and they store in our body, number 1. You can see that in the black tar, and they destroy healthy cells, number 2. So I use this picture because it's the obvious, right? This is one that we know very well. Another one is a toxic liver. So again, we know that too much alcohol, too many medications, there are many medications out there that are actually very stressful on the liver, and that's because medications are synthetic or chemically derived. And so you're putting those in your body. They do the job that they're supposed to do, but then they clear through the liver and it's too much. It causes damage to the liver on their way out. And again, alcohol. So a little bit of alcohol is great. Too much alcohol and it destroys the healthy cells of the liver. And that's where you get cirrhosis. And the word cirrhosis actually means dead cells. And again, we were talking about liver toxicity. There's a doctor from USC who listed the 10 worst medications for your liver. And again, medications are synthetic. They're chemically derived and you put them in your body. And so some of them can clear from your body very quickly, but some of them actually cause damage to the body. So what about bacteria and viruses? So that's the big question here. So if bacteria and viruses don't cause disease, what are they doing? Why do they make us sick? Why do we get so ill when we come in contact with them? So this is what I want you to really focus on here. When somebody gets sick, we see a bacteria or a virus going, and we look under the microscope, and we look in there and we say, oh my gosh, look at all these bacteria and virus in here. They're in here attacking these healthy cells in our body. So they're destroying us. And then we see all of a sudden our immune system, or our T cells, our white blood cells, will turn on, and they come in and they attack the bacteria and the virus. That's what we're seeing in our little box. What I'm asking you to do is step back out of the box and step back and take a look at the whole picture first. What happened before these bacteria and viruses appeared in the body? So if you take a look, these are the healthy cells of any part of your body. This could be any organ, this could be your lungs, it could be your kidneys, your liver, your brain, this could be your bone, this could be your skin, any place in your body. And what happens are these toxic cells, or these toxins, rather, environmental toxins, come into our body, and they come in through our air, they come in through our water, we put chemicals on our skin, we breathe them in, we eat them in our foods, we're exposed to them constantly. There are electromagnetic toxins that we're exposed to. There's an incredible amount of this stuff that we're exposed to that hit our body. They come in and they destroy these healthy cells, and they cause what we call cell corpses or cellular debris. So when a healthy cell is destroyed, it can actually explode, and then you have the debris that is left. Or if you have a lack of oxygen that gets into a cell, and you have too many poisons inside this cell, then that cell will explode, actually, and it causes these cell corpses and debris. So now we're left with all of this debris, and what is our body designed to do? Well, it takes the microbes that are in our body and it sends them in there, and these little microbes start breaking this down and chewing them up and turning them into a tiny portion or a tiny fraction of their original size. So it can break this down into a tiny, tiny little speck of what it was, and that's so it can be eliminated from our body. So now you're left with this debris that's left after everything has been broken down. And we see this happen all the time. So if you buy fresh fruit, you pick a lemon off of a tree, and then eventually it starts to grow mold on it. The reason it's doing that is because the healthy cells of the fruits or vegetables or the produce that you have begin to die. So when they start to die, these bacteria and mold and microbes move in, and they start to grow on it to break it down. We see this all the time in our food. So the exact same thing happens in the human body. In fact, our body has 1 trillion different types of microbes that live in and on our body, and over 10,000 different species. So many of us can probably name a few species of microbes, but not 10,000 of them. And that's just the ones we know of. You know, every year we're discovering more and more. Look at when they take pictures and they go down into the earth and they go miles deep down in the earth, they found new species that are down in our earth as well. So these microbes are literally living everywhere. They live in space, they live on plants, they live on animals, they live within animals, they live within plants, they live within us. They live everywhere in our entire universe. So again, in the human body, when we're exposed to these toxins, they come in, they break down the healthy cells in our body. I'm going to go past these. And then the microbes come in, they break them down, and then they're eliminated from our body. So I spoke to a gentleman who is the director of forensic anthropology at Texas State University. We were talking about how the human cell works. And the way he explained it is when the human cell cannot get rid of enough waste, it actually has a buildup of this waste and toxins inside of it, and it splits open. And then the natural bacteria that's in our body comes in and it breaks all of this down. That's exactly what happens when we die, right? So the oxygen doesn't get into our organs and into our body any longer, and so we have a buildup of toxic waste within the cells. The cells split open, and then the microbes come in and start breaking us down. That's like the regular deterioration and degradation of the human body, just like the fruits and vegetables that I showed you as well. So here come the microbes. They come in, they break down all of this debris that's left over. Now, these are the healthy cells, these purple ones. So those are fine. They're breaking down this debris here. And then after the microbes have broken down all of this debris into a fraction of its size, our T cells turn on. So this is what we know as the immune system. Our T cells turn on, they come in and they shut down the microbes because the microbes have done their job already. So think about this logically. So we think, oh, I have this bacteria in my body and I have a really high T cell account. This is the way we think today. I have an infection. I have a bacterial or a viral infection because my T cell count is extremely high. It's exactly right. But the bacteria and viruses are actually in there breaking down the toxicity. The toxicity is there first. Breaking that down, if you have more toxicity, you're going to have a higher T cell count. So your T cells come in, turn off those bacteria and those viruses. Now that the bacteria and viruses have done their job, and this kind of all works at the exact same time, it's all working together, then fluids are sent to the area to flush them out. So if you ever had a splinter in your hand or in your foot, you've seen that those fluids come to that area and they try to flush it out. They push the splinter out and it works its way out. That's because of the fluids that come in there. Or if you've ever had surgery, you get inflammation around that area because you have all of that scar tissue and those dead cells. So they've cut into the healthy cells of your body. You now have dead cells in those areas. The fluids have to go in there to flush the dead cells out so that the body can heal and heal itself. This is what inflammation is. It's the fluids. So then our body uses its organs to move all of these toxins and dead cells and this debris out. It gets flushed, cleans through our liver. It comes out of our lungs, our kidneys, our lymph, our blood, our colon, our skin. Basically, everything that comes out of our body has the potential of carrying toxins out with it. So these little micro detoxifications happen every day, and most of us go about our day not even knowing it. We blow our nose, we get a little earwax, we have, we pass stools and we pee and stuff comes out and all of that stuff, and we don't even realize that it's happening. We get a little skin thing happening. If we work out, we're constantly sweating it out, so it's moving out that way. And we're designed really to just keep continually moving this out more and more and more every day. So little comes in, little goes out, and we just kind of go through this process. And when that happens, now you're left with this area where it's all been cleaned out, right? So this is cleaned out. And if this is a part of your body, let's say this is your lungs or your kidneys, you've cleaned out all of this debris, but now it's your job to fill this back in. So we can keep cleaning out and cleaning out and cleaning out, and eventually all these cells are going to be gone because we're exposed to environmental poisons all the time. So if we're cleaning out and cleaning out and cleaning out, eventually we're not going to have any cells left in that organ at all. Our job is to rebuild new healthy cells. That's really very important. And then when you rebuild, now you have a healthy part of your body again. The biggest problem that we have is that man was designed to live in a world like this. Man, with nature, with the microbes, with the animals, we were all designed to live in this. But we've created a world that looks like this, and like this, and all the pesticides and herbicides that we create, and all of the technology that we have, although is really wonderful, actually still does cellular damage to our body, to the healthy cells in our body. And then, of course, all the processed food that we've created. I mean, we weren't put on earth with these things. Now, I will be talking about how there's a time and place for this. I'm not saying we have to get rid of everything, but we do have to increase our awareness of what we're exposed to. So this slide, what I'm showing here is, because of the world we've created, we're destroying healthy cells at a really rapid rate. So in many of our bodies, we have fewer healthy cells and more cellular debris happening, and our body cannot flush it out at a fast enough rate because it's happening so fast. So obviously, if I have more dead cells and more debris and more toxins in my body, this would be like a dead cell. These are the toxins. It's going to take more bacteria to come in and break it down. We need more microbes to that area to break it down, to get it into this small size so it can be eliminated through our pores and eliminated out of our ears, and so we can cough it up, and so it can adhere to the mucus and the phlegm in our body, and we can cough all of that up to get it out of our body. So again, as I was talking about before, more bacteria means more T cells, right? So we have these normal bacteria and microbes, but when our body gets so toxic, so if you look at this slide, the point that I was trying to make here is we don't have a lot of healthy cells left. In this particular one area of this body, maybe this is an area of a smoker, and I apologize to smokers out there. It's so easy for me to use that as an example, but I use it because we understand it. We know how toxic cigarette smoke is. We know what it can do to the body. So if this is a part of the lung where, like the picture that I showed you, where so many healthy cells have been destroyed, it's too much for our body to try to get out just through our skin, or just through our nose, or just through a cough, or just through our lymphatic system. So it actually sends in a virus, or it turns on a virus, or it uses a virus that we contract from the outside. And I'll talk a little bit about how the viruses come to be in our body. But viruses are like these superpower agents, and they can break down toxins and cellular debris and dead cells and scar tissue really fast and really efficiently. So they come moving in and they break this down so rapidly. And then, of course, again, the more you have in your body, the more T cells you have, and then the more inflammation you're going to have, because the fluids are trying to flush out more of that from your body. So the more severe symptoms you're going to have. So the reason that a lot of people have vomiting and diarrhea when they have a viral infection is because viruses are so efficient at breaking it down so incredibly quickly that it's got to be moved out of your body as fast as possible. And what's the fastest way to do it? Through vomiting is the number way fastest way to do it. That's why when you drink too much and you have alcohol toxicity, your body's trying to save itself by throwing up. So diarrhea is the next way. It sends these toxins through the GI tract as quickly as possible and moves it out that area. Sometimes people have both. So they have vomiting and diarrhea, and they have fever because their body's trying to sweat it out. Their body's trying to do everything possible to get all of this debris out as quickly as it possibly can. So a bacterial or viral infection is not an infection at all, although you could still look at it as an infection, but it's really a detoxification. Bacteria and viruses are designed by nature specifically to detoxify your body. So the level of toxins in your body will be directly related to the symptoms that you experience. But what happens to us when we have these bacterial or viral symptoms? So when we're throwing up, or we have diarrhea, or we have a fever, or we're coughing up mucus, the first thing that we do is we usually run and take a pill for that. So we try to stop the detoxification from happening. We push all of those toxins back into our body, and we're stopping them from coming out. We're stopping them from being eliminated. Yes, some of these detoxification symptoms are very severe. They're a lot for people to handle. So I understand why people do them. But we've made it a habit, and we've made it this instinctual thing that we do, that as soon as we start to experience a little symptom, we run and take a medication. We take a pill to stop it from happening. Or not just a pill, we take herbs, and we do different treatments to try to stop the process. Well, then we go back out into the world. So now we've pushed all these poisons back into our body. We go back out into the world, and we expose ourselves to all of this stuff again. We haven't turned off the faucet. We haven't stopped it from coming into our body. So we're going to have even more toxins stored in our body. And then we have another bacterial or viral detoxification, and they come into our body. They're trying to eliminate that. And then we take more medications, and we stop that detoxification from happening. And eventually we get into this toxic body overload, where we have so much in our body. And our body is incredibly smart. It knows that it needs to clean us out. It's trying so hard to keep us clean, but we keep stopping it from happening. So it sends in a bacteria, and we take antibiotics to stop that. And then it makes a stronger bacteria, and we take a stronger antibiotic for it. And then it sends in a virus, and we do everything we can to stop the viral symptoms, right? We take medications to stop the cough and the fever and the diarrhea and the nausea and the vomiting. And so it just keeps pushing this back in. And finally, our body says, okay, that bacteria didn't work, and this one didn't work, and that virus didn't work. I need to create something really strong, really powerful to go in and clean this person out. Otherwise, they're going to die, if I don't do this. So it's trying to save our lives by creating these superbugs. And it naturally creates these superbugs like the coronavirus, like what we have right now. So again, bacteria and viruses do not cause disease. Humans have poisoned our own world, and the poisons in our world we put into our body, or where our body is exposed to, and it's created a toxic environment in our body. And the bacteria and viruses emerge to come and clean us out. And we know this. This is actually absolutely scientifically proven at the top medical schools around not only our country, but the world. Harvard Medical School, Mayo Clinic, Yale University, University of Calgary, University of Alabama. Schools all over the world have shown us that when you inject a bacteria or a virus into a cancerous tumor. And what's a cancerous tumor? Cancerous tumor is a combination of mutated cells. They are dead cells. It's cellular debris. It's environmental toxins that are sort of in that area. They're all in this area. And when you inject a bacteria or virus, no matter what kind of bacteria or virus it is, if it's naturally derived, if it occurs naturally in nature, it will break down those cancerous tumors without touching one healthy cell around it. Not one healthy cell. They've injected the herpes virus, they've injected the polio virus, they've injected the cold and flu virus, they've injected the measles virus, and all of these viruses reduce or eliminate the tumors without touching one healthy cell. So they only feed on the weak cells, and they only feed on the dead cells, the mutated cells, the toxins, the poisons that are in our body, the scar tissue that's in our body. And this is something that's called oncolytic viral therapy. This has been around for over 100 years. They were doing this many, many years ago, and it sort of kind of got lost in the path of the germ theory and using medications to kill the bacteria instead of addressing what's really happening in the body. So it's nothing new, but it's making a resurgence. And the interesting part, and this isn't surprising, that when they injected these viruses and bacteria into the tumors of brain tumors and different cancerous tumors in the body, the symptoms that the people had were the exact same symptoms that people had when they had a bacterial or viral infection. So they had fevers, they coughed up phlegm, they had diarrhea, they had nausea, they had vomiting. This was their body detoxing all of that debris that was broken down by the viruses and bacteria that they injected into the tumors, and now it had to come out of the body. And by the way, it wasn't just viruses. They also injected salmonella, and they also injected E. coli, and those two did the exact same things. Broke down all of the debris, the cancer, the dead cells, but it didn't touch any of the healthy cells. So it's a very interesting concept. We poison our body, and then the bacteria and viruses emerge to come in and clean us up. So the real answer is to take control over your body so that the COVID-19 virus doesn't take control over you. And what does that mean? That means that we have to detoxify our body. We have to learn what it means to be on a consistent detoxification program. The goal is to protect yourself and your family. And if you really want to do it, you have to understand the science. You have to understand this basic science of what bacteria and viruses do in the body. And you have to learn how to clean yourself out. So that's what we are going to be talking about over the next couple days. Today, the focus really was about understanding what bacteria and viruses do in the body, how it's a natural cleansing of the body. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about detoxification. So what is it that we're exposed to on a daily basis? Most of us don't think that we're exposed to a lot. A little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, but all of that accumulates in our body and causes all of this debris in there that needs to be broken down. So I'm going to be talking about what causes toxicity in our body, and then I'm also going to talk about how to detoxify. So we'll get into that a little bit tomorrow, and we'll get into that on, let's see, today's Wednesday. We'll get into that on Friday as well. So thanks for joining me today. That's the nuts and bolts of it today. Stay tuned and check in tomorrow, and let's talk about detoxification and how we can continually move this stuff out so that you don't necessarily have to go through a COVID-19 detoxification. So you don't necessarily have to go through a measles detoxification. So you don't necessarily have to go through a cold and flu virus detoxification. If you are assisting your body and moving this stuff out, there's not a buildup in there, then you don't necessarily have to go through them. So, and that's what we really, really want to prevent. So have a great afternoon. Let your friends know about this. And I'm going to have this again today at 2 o'clock. I'm going to offer it again. I will be recording it and putting it up on my YouTube channel. So thanks again. See you next time.